Oh my goodness, we got some key stories for the Raiders today. Man, Baker Mayfield is in the building with the Los Angeles Rams, and Sean McVay gave some insight on his status for this upcoming game, and also gave an update on Aaron Donald and many other key players who might be out in this upcoming matchup. Plus, head coach Josh McDaniels spoke about the status of Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. Could they be back this week? And many people online have discovered who the lucky lady sitting next to Mark Davis was at Allegiant Stadium. We are almost at 40,000 subscribers. Oh my goodness, make sure you hit that red subscribe button for more Raiders content. So the big question surrounding the Raiders versus Rams game is, what is the status of Baker Mayfield, and is he actually going to play in this upcoming matchup? I hear a lot of people keep saying, oh, there's no way he could learn the playbook in this short amount of time. Oh, there's no way he's going to play in just 2 days. Well, the Rams don't look like they have any better options, and plus, I highly doubt Baker Mayfield just found out he was going to LA recently. Think about it, this guy has not been starting for the Panthers lately. They played Sam Darnold recently, and then before that they had PJ Walker. They've been trying to go away from Baker Mayfield for some time, and Baker Mayfield requested his release because he knew there was an opportunity for him to go elsewhere. And we have discovered that nobody submitted a waiver claim for Baker Mayfield besides the Rams. So in my opinion, if I was going to take an educated guess, I think Baker Mayfield was monitoring the Rams situation for some time. He knew there was an injury there with Matthew Stafford. He was on the bench with the Panthers, so perhaps he has more familiarity with Sean McVay's system than we realize. I really just do not buy that tampering never happens, especially now that we've learned that Tom Brady and Sean Payton were tampering with the Dolphins to try to go meet up and play with Miami. So now we know John Wolford, who was a starting QB last week, is questionable to play against the Raiders. And Sean McVay says that he is leaning towards activating Baker Mayfield for Thursday Night Football against the Raiders. He does say it would be an unlikely precedent for Baker Mayfield to play, but does believe he can do it. So the Rams have been rolling with John Wolford and then Bryce Perkins as the backup at the QB position. And the fact that Baker is activated is kind of big because you can only activate 46 players on game day. You can't have the entire 53-man roster, so the fact that Sean McVay is thinking about activating Baker Mayfield means that he expects him to participate and be ready to play in some fashion. And McVay has already said some positive things about Baker, saying that he feels like he upgrades the entire QB room. He says he's a smart, cerebral player that has great competitiveness. And since it looks like Baker Mayfield is going to be activated, some reporters for The Athletic do believe that he will play in at least a situational fashion, but this does not necessarily mean he is going to start. In my humble opinion, I think the NFL is shady. I think they don't play by the rules, so I find it highly unlikely that Baker Mayfield's only had a hold of the playbook for 48 hours. And I personally believe that he is going to play in this upcoming game, and we'll see if I'm right this Thursday, where we will be live during the game. Make sure you check us out live on this channel during the game, doing live play-by-play and reaction. We hope to see you there. And this just in, a few hours ago, Aaron Donald is officially ruled out for this game against the Raiders. Great news for Raiders fans, and it looks like they'll be able to continue their great rushing attack, and hopefully if the offensive line gets a decent push, maybe they could play some Zamir White instead of Josh Jacobs. We know Josh Jacobs has been banged up because he has been used a lot, and we've seen Zamir White get a few carries in these past 2 games. Maybe we can see more of him to rest Josh Jacobs because Zamir White has looked good in limited action. And in addition to Aaron Donald, there's some other key defensive players who are banged up and going to be ruled out for this game for the Rams. That's Terrell Lewis, David Long, the linebacker, and also Troy Hill, the defensive back. These guys being out just makes the task a little bit more manageable and a little bit easier for the Raiders. And so for the Raiders offensive side of the ball, there's no excuses here, really. You got a pretty healthy squad, and you're going up against a Rams defense that's completely decimated in injuries. But keep in mind, the Rams still have 2 star players on the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to be Bobby Wagner and obviously Jalen Ramsey, who's going to be going head-to-head against Davante Adams. So head coach Josh McDaniels did not really commit to an answer when asked about the status of Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow. He said, though, because of the short week, we've taken that into consideration, and it does seem like, according to Levi Damien, that it does not look like Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller will be activated this week. And this is odd because you saw Darren Waller say to Austin Boyd of Heavy.com that if the coaches want him to play against the Rams, he is ready to go and he feels 100% he's willing to play against the Rams. But Josh McDaniels is choosing to take a more conservative approach, not rush these guys too quickly. And with the offense clicking lately, maybe this is the best option. Just give it to the hot hand, get the ball to Foster Moreau and Mac Hollins outside of Davante Adams. Because even if Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow are talented guys, these guys are cold. They haven't played live action reps in some time. So the Raiders will be relying on 1-7 on the offensive side of the football. That's Davante Adams, while the Rams will be relying probably on another 1-7, which is Baker Mayfield, rocking the 1-7 with the Rams. I had to tweet and say this is Davante Mayfield. And Davante Adams is officially in Hall of Fame territory. story, and he will be a Hall of Famer with the Raiders. I am saying it here right now. Davante Adams, in terms of the most receiving touchdowns in his first 9 seasons, Davante Adams has 85 touchdowns. Jerry Rice sitting there with 118. And now that there's an extra game every year, who knows? Could Davante Adams eventually break Jerry Rice's touchdown record? So Davante Adams has 85 career receiving touchdowns in 9 years, and Jerry Rice has 197 receiving touchdowns in 20 years. Based on the math, Jerry Rice had 9.85 touchdowns a year, while Davante Adams is at 9.4 touchdowns a year, so he's close and he can make it happen as long as he stays in the league. Justin Herbert not doing too well in the league so far. He has 23 losses since his rookie season in 2020, and there is only one QB who has taken more L's in that time frame, and that is Matt Ryan. So you know what? Yeah, let the media continue to be all over Justin Herbert's nuts. Let's applaud him because he's in Matt Ryan territory. That's great. And by the way, guys, Pro Bowl voting is open right now, and with the top 5 players in Pro Bowl votes, none of them are Raiders right now. Voting is currently open. We need to get the votes up for Davante Adams, Derek Carr, Max Crosby, of course, Denzel Perryman, and of course, Josh Jacobs. Guys, get these votes in for these Pro Bowl players. We can't have Tua Tagovailoa being number 1 here, and obviously freaking Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Can't have them on this top 5 list. We have a link to the Pro Bowl voting in the pinned comment below. Get those votes into your favorite Raiders players. And maybe Raiders fans have a new favorite Raider rep because the NFL world and the Twitter world was just obsessed with Mark Davis's date. Who does he have next to him in this game against the LA Chargers? And what is so odd is people have done some digging. They have found out who it is. New York Post on the mystery blonde next to Mark Davis. They have been identified, and it turns out it is a famous Cirque du Soleil performer, Hayden Hopkins, located in Las Vegas. And she was pictured here next to Mark Davis, apparently a good friend of Mark's, and people were able to notice that she had an Instagram story from her view, from Mark Davis's view. This is what it looks like when you sit next to Mark Davis. That is an awesome setup. You got the TV broadcast and the game right there. Man, that is high class. And she's a famous Instagram person. She got a lot of pictures out there in Las Vegas, at the beach, all kinds of nice things, and she's hanging out with Raiders owner Mark Davis. Unfortunately, Hayden Hopkins isn't going to be the next female owner of an NFL team. We're going to leave that to Tanya Snyder for right now. In a response to a fan who asked her about her experience sitting next to Mark Davis, she wrote, "Haha, MD is a legend. He's my neighbor slash friend. Fun game." So apparently we now know Mark Davis's nickname, MD for short, and it turns out the 25-year-old is nothing more than just a friend and a neighbor of Mark Davis. So I guess we could all finally put this aside until we happen to see her at more games next to Mark Davis at Allegiant Stadium. Then I think interest will spark up again. I'm a little nervous right now before this upcoming game because in the NFL preview, every single person has chosen the Raiders to win. And of course, when that happens, the Raiders usually end up blowing it. So hopefully it doesn't happen this time around. Give me your final score predictions for this Thursday night game in the comments below. So it should be a fun game Thursday night. We are going to be live before the game and during the whole entire game, giving our live play-by-play and reaction. So make sure you turn on notifications so you do not miss it. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.